Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bradley Clary, and on this channel we discuss core doctrine of Christianity and how we should live in light of the good news of the gospel. Today we are going to be continuing our Bible summary series by picking up where we left off. Today we are going to be summarizing Genesis 9 and 10. Genesis 9 describes God's dealings with Noah and his sons in a world remade by the flood. It can be divided into three sections. First, God gives blessings and commands to Noah and his sons, which very closely echo his words given to Adam and Eve, but with significant differences. God once again blesses mankind with both the ability and responsibility to reproduce and fill the earth. This time, however, God's instruction to subdue the earth include the fact that all animals would be fearful of humanity. In Eden, God explicitly gave plants as a food source. Now, after the flood, in addition to plants, humanity is given overt permission to eat animals. However, they are not permitted to eat the blood of these animals. In addition, if a person kills another person or an animal kills a person, God will now require the killer's life to be taken, as well as a protection against the kind of violence that raged on the earth before the flood. In the second section, God expands on his promise from chapter 8 to never kill every creature on the earth with a flood. God establishes a universal covenant with humanity and the animals and declares that he will make a sign of this covenant. He will set his bow in the clouds. God will cause the rainbow that appears in conjunction with a storm to remind him of this promise. It serves as a reminder of God's grace and mercy to humanity as well. The final section of chapter 9 tells an awkward story. Noah gets drunk on the wine from a new vineyard. He passes out naked in his tent. One of his three sons, Ham, walks into Noah's tent, sees his father is naked, leaves the tent, and tells his brother what he has seen. Noah's other two sons go to great lengths to cover their father's nakedness without looking at him. While vague on details, this passage makes it explicitly clear that Ham has somehow dishonored his father. This story also demonstrates a common theme of Scripture, that all people, even those used by God, are fallible and prone to masking mistakes. When Noah wakes up, he curses Ham's son Canaan, declaring that Ham's descendants will be subservient to the descendants of his brothers Shem and Japheth. Noah's curse on Canaan includes blessings on both Shem and Japheth, with the first hint that the line of Shem will lead to the creation of God's chosen people, Israel. Chapter 9 ends with a simple report. Noah lived 350 years after the start of the flood, for a total lifespan of 950 years. He will be the last of the patriarchs of Genesis to live nearly a millennia. The genealogies of Genesis 11 show a rapidly decreasing maximum to the duration of human life. Genesis 10, often called the Table of Nations, is important because it explains the origin of different peoples and nations after the Great Flood tracing their lineage back to Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. It provides a framework for understanding the dispersion of humanity and the development of various cultures and languages. This chapter also sets the stage for later biblical events, particularly the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11. This chapter is significant for a few reasons. Genesis 10 is a unique genealogical record that doesn't just focus on individual family lines, but also maps out the geographical description of nations and their connections to Noah's descendants. It's not just a list of names, but a way to understand how different groups of people spread out across the world after the flood. 2. It demonstrates the fulfillment of God's commands for Noah and his sons to multiply and fill the earth. This chapter shows how the single family of Noah became a multitude of nations, each with its own characteristics. 3. Foundation for future events. Genesis 10 lays the groundwork for understanding the Tower of Babel narrative in Genesis 11. This chapter introduces key terms like languages, land, and nations that are central to the Tower of Babel story, highlighting the role of language in the human interaction and division. 4. Global perspective. It offers a global perspective on God's plan, showing that He is not just interested in one nation, but in all peoples and nations. This is a reminder that God's salvation plan encompasses the entire world. 5. Understanding conflicts. This chapter also helps to understand the origins of some of the peoples and nations that would later become enemies or allies of Israel. By understanding their lineage, readers can gain insights into their historical and cultural context, which can be helpful in understanding later biblical narratives. 6. Historical accuracy. While some details may be debated, some scholars argued that Genesis 10 provides a remarkably accurate account of the origin of various ancient nations, especially when compared to other ancient texts. As always, if I missed anything, please feel free to drop it in the comment section below, and I'll address it in my next video. And thank you all for watching another video, and as always, keep on living in light of the good news of the gospel. If y'all liked that video and would like to help me reach more people with the gospel, click that sub button and join the team. And also please consider becoming a patron on my Patreon account, link in description. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.